All right. Welcome back to the Wolf Financial Show, specifically the Solid Report. Today's not a fun day. It's very, I gotta be honest, like in days like today, the market, like I do not want to stream right now. Like it is brutal out there. It is brutal, of course, unless you own shares in SanDisk or maybe SkyT or maybe some real estate company, whatever it is. But as a tech investor, today is definitely brutal day. Let me just bring up some charts here to go over real quick for you all. But again, welcome to the show. Yeah, I had to use Bagnificent 7 because I am a shareholder of Meta and also Amazon. And like every time you think Amazon's going to break out, Jeff Bezos comes out and sells a bunch of shares, but it's okay, guys. It is. Oh yeah, and also if you're a shareholder of BMNR, holy cow, you guys are celebrating today. Well, you weren't really celebrating as much as you were this morning when it was 34.39, but it's still up. I mean, you have to admit, like when you see the Q's down, oh, it's only down 1.5%. Let me actually share some charts over here real quick. Here we go. All right, so we have the triple Qs here down 1.5%. SPY is down only 80 basis points, not so bad. I need to add RSP to this chart. I don't know why I don't add RSP. The equal weights SP 500 is up today, which means that we are getting broadening out in the stock market, which is really good to see. What's going on? Ray, Leah, how are you? Jake, the snake, the sizzle snake, how are you? Leah again, and creatively. Oh, that's pretty ingenious, actually. Enjoy that one. Welcome to the show, all 34 of you. Again, if you're on my YouTube channel, that is the Solid Finance YouTube channel, please tune in to the youtube.com/@Wolf Financial to see me live here. I'm going to be cutting off the stream on my channel pretty soon, a lot sooner the further we get into 2026. But I kind of want to go back to the beginning of 2026 when the portfolio was up a lot every single day. Now today, it is just brutal, guys. I mean, it is. I mean, I guess it's good because you have the IWM is up about 40 basis points. You have the RSP is up, which probably means financials are up today. Let's just go ahead and check financials real quick on the sectors. XLF is not up today. So then it must be regional banks, right? It must be regional banks. Yeah, regional banks are about 1% today. So we got some good news from the regional banks. Those are doing pretty nicely today. Of course, you have Staples, which is defensive sector, is up 1.4% today. Healthcare is up 50 basis points today. Materials are up 9 basis points. Energy is insane today. What in the world? Did this just happen? Oh, okay. It's been happening throughout the day. Wow. Energy is up a lot today. What is energy made out of? XLE Holdings. ExxonMobil, CVX. Wow. Those are some pretty big moves for this index right here. And you also have ConocoPhillips. Energy is definitely moving today, but I do wonder if the commodities are up today too. Yeah, actually oil is up 1.5 today, which is pretty good. Of course, nat gas is down as it usually does. Where does that put VG? Okay, so VG is doing pretty good. Next is pretty flat, but they had pretty nice days yesterday, so we'll see what happens with that one. But onwards to the show, everyone. We got a few things we want to talk about today. Excuse me. Holy cow. If you were waiting until 10 a.m. Eastern this morning for the big decision from the Supreme Court of the United States of America, you were severely disappointed with another delay where they're basically not going to be giving that decision today. A lot of you guys probably already know about this one. Let's go ahead and play this clip from CNBC real quick to get some coverage on this morning in case you did not hear or see it.
Once again, we are not getting the tariff decision from the Supreme Court. They've issued a number of decisions this morning, but now they're wrapped for the day in terms of the decisions, and we know that we're not going to get that tariff decision at this point. So we continue to watch and wait. Not clear when we might see this decision from the Supreme Court. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in this in Washington and around the country and around the world as everybody watches to see what the president's tariff regimen is going to be in 2026. Couple of options here, Carls. You guys were just talking about, could the White House replace the tariffs that were struck down, if they are struck down, with something else? Just thinking through what might happen in that scenario, the administration has said they're determined to make sure that they can continue to collect this money. So what they could do, depending on how the court rules, one is they could switch it over to some sort of licensing fee arrangement, if that's allowed by the court. And we have another number of other options under the law that the president could use. He could use Section 338, which allows for tariffs of up to 50%. He could use Section 232, which allows for sector-specific tariffs. He could do country-specific tariffs under Section 301. He could also do tariffs up to 15% for 150 days under Section 122. So a lot of different options here for the administration as they think about what they might do in a scenario where the Supreme Court strikes down the tariffs, which is sort of the betting option here after that Supreme Court argument in November where justices seemed pretty skeptical. That said, not skeptical enough to issue the decision today, and we will continue to sit and wait.
Yeah, so we did not get that decision today. I thought we were going to get it today, and I thought it was going to be sell the rumor, buy the news event. But I have to come to the conclusion here that I don't think the market really cares about the Supreme Court decision. I do think there's something else the market cares about, which is the reason why we're continuing to see the sell-off amid any type of decision or any type of clarity we're getting in the tariffs. Because I do think that, the tariffs have been something since last April. I'm obviously, from what the gentleman on CNBC said, is that Trump has a lot of cards he can play. So I think one way or another, Trump's going to get his tariffs regardless. Could be part of the reason why you see over here in the charts that, well, it looks like Nike's actually down today. It was up today, rejected the 200-day moving average over there. And Amazon is still down today. So if we were not getting this tariff situation, wouldn't Amazon like that? That means that the costs they are to import all these goods, especially for all the Amazon orders, that's a lot of them do come from China. Wouldn't that mean that Amazon would be making more money on the reduced costs for a lot of these items? I don't know. Like, something just tells me I don't think this is a problem for the market. I think the market's cool. Whatever decision the Supreme Court comes at, we already had the tariffs basically for the second half of 2025, and I think it's continued to be something in 2026, but not as far as market volatility. I think it's always going to be a topic because that's always going to be his leverage for negotiating tariffs with these other countries and getting whatever deals he wants. Yeah, Meta is down a lot today. And we thought Meta was actually bottoming out when it was down here, but it could not get above this 200-day moving average and is back down below here. Am I buying today? No, I'm not going to buy any Meta today. Someone else asked earlier if what I'm going to do with Adobe, so I'll comment on that one later on. But Adobe's down another 2% today. Really overall, if you're a tech investor, you're just not doing good, of course, unless you own a Celsius, which technically is not a tech stock. Or unless you own China stocks. Alibaba's up again today, 1.1%. We're getting a lot of broadening out in the markets, and that's not just tech in the US, or that's just not just the US sectors, but we're getting broadening out into the Chinese markets as well. Obviously a pretty big hit for Pinduoduo. I actually don't know what the news of Pinduoduo is, why it's down 4%, but if you look at the mega cap stocks, they're not really doing that. The Bagnificent 7 is down like 2% or more today, except for Google, of course. Amazon is down 2.5%. Meta is down 2%. Microsoft is down 3%. A little birdie who's known as what's it called? Paper Gains is actually doing pretty well on his Microsoft short. I actually should have joined him on that one just to have his catch there. But who would have known that Microsoft was going to make a lower low than it did back in November? I would have never thought that was coming, but apparently it's here. Tesla's pretty weak today, but still above the 100-day moving average. And a lot of these semiconductor stocks are actually down today. Oh, wow. Broadcom is down about 5% today. It's pretty interesting. I did notice that Oracle is back down to low 190s again. Pure Storage, Looks like that rejected the 50-day moving average there. This is actually, yeah. So we have iron is actually red today, which is pretty interesting to see. But you know, you had a massive move upward, take a little bit of a breather. Same thing for Nebius, you had a massive move as well. Thoughts on Navitas? So Navitas, the only reason why I would not, for me, I'm not, I would not stay. For me, I'm not staying in this long term or anything. I did trade it earlier and did pretty well in it. I think I had like a triple on it. Back when it was like $4 all the way up until like $12. But I mean, you know, if you want to take a stab at this one, you know, they're already partnered with NVIDIA when it comes to the GaN technology and power chip technology. The only thing that keeps me standing away from this is really like their profitability metric. They're definitely not even close to being profitable and probably won't be for some time. So I'd be careful with that one. But I mean, if it's more for a long-term thing, you know, I would say why not? It is definitely part of that semiconductor AI picks and shovels rally. Yeah, ZETA is down today too. This is definitely not fun. These days in the market were definitely a lot more fun than these days. But when I was down here and you said ZETA could be $21, I was pretty happy about that. So can't really be too greedy. I mean, this obviously is not going to last for a while. I think I've told you guys many times in this podcast, like, yeah, it's nice the market's up, but like this is not going to last forever. And it definitely did not last forever. So it's certainly not. Path is down a lot today, which is pretty interesting. Creeping out down here below the 50-day moving average. So we'll see what happens with that one. Kratos drone technology is still pushing new highs here. Got a little bit scared in the morning, and One Stop Shop is up a lot today as well. So congratulations if you're shareholders of that. But we will see what happens with the market moving forward. We're going to go a little bit more into the technicals later on the show after we get through the rest of the segments. So let's go ahead and move on. So let's talk credit card rates, specifically capping them at 10%. I do think this is what the market is kind of selling off toward, right? So we have January 20, which is the date where Trump said he's going to start putting these 10% cap rates. And we also have a little bit of bipartisan support from Elizabeth Warren saying that she will get the votes as long as Trump promises to push this through, right? So there is actually a post here that Amit, where is it? Here it is. Let me go ahead and share this screen over here. Yeah, so we have a post over here saying that Elizabeth Warren says Donald Trump called on her today to collaborate on capping credit card rates. She said that if Trump could get House Republicans to agree to the bill, it could be possible to get this bill passed. Mike Johnson, Speaker for House, yesterday said that Trump had not properly thought through the implications of capping credit card rates as more consumers would lose access to credit. I do agree with this. I think there's a lot more implications that are being considered here, and I think the market is forward-looking on that, and that's the reason why they don't necessarily like this idea of capping rates. So yeah, it's pretty incredible that these two people are working together on this. And here is the letter, basically from DC, just kind of talking a little bit about this. Let's get some coverage on this because Elizabeth Warren was on CNBC this morning. I did not watch this video. It's about 10 minutes long. I don't know if I'm going to play the whole thing. We'll see how it goes. If it's like very interesting to kind of listen in and like what Elizabeth Warren. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video.
Reached out to Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren for a...
Hold on a second. I want to make sure I'm sharing the sound. See, your boy's getting better at this stuff. Your boy is getting better at this stuff.
Conversation that the White House called productive. Joining us right now with the details of how that conversation came about and maybe some areas where they can work together is Senator Elizabeth Warren. She is the lead Democrat on the Banking Committee. And Senator, thank you for being with us. It almost sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit that the two of you actually spoke and had something that the White House called productive. First of all, how did this conversation come about? It was after a speech that you had given that was actually pretty fiery.
That's right. I had just given a speech about the future of the Democratic Party. And the basic point that I made in the speech is that Donald Trump had promised for an entire year in the run-up to the 2024 election that on day one he would lower costs for American families. He gets elected. And the very first interview, he says on day one that he will lower costs for American families and that's why he got elected. And yet here we are a year in, and the cost of groceries is up, the cost of utilities is up, the cost of housing is up, the cost of healthcare is up, up, up. And all of those costs are up because of policies that Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress have pushed on our economy. So the argument I was making in the speech is it's time for Democrats to jump in to hold Donald Trump and the Republicans accountable for these higher costs for American families, and then make a choice as we go forward. We can take our economic agenda and sand it down, narrow it down to make it more acceptable to billionaire donors, or we can actually go full-throated on behalf of the American people and make bold proposals and demonstrate that we will get in there and fight for them. But this was all about lowering costs for American families because that's what Democrats are going to do, and that's what the election of 2026 is going to be about.
So shortly afterwards, you get a call from the president.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? What happened?
Yes, I was surprised. In fact, I did not recognize the phone number. So the question then is, he raises the point about a cap on credit card.
I do wonder if
something that had come.
If it says POTUS on the phone, if Trump calls you, I mean, I guess not in this case. You need to recognize the phone number, but like, I don't know. It's a random thought. That was pretty funny. It's like I didn't recognize the phone number. Just her commenting that was pretty funny.
Up in the speech, and that I've been working on for years, and that is trying to get interest rates down. And he said he wanted to work on that. And I said, great, let's get something done, because my point was, and I had made this point in the speech, he had not lifted a finger to try to get something through on credit card interest rate caps. And then while I had him, I said, you know, there's something else you could do just right away. We need to bring down the cost of housing. And the way we do that is to increase housing supply all across this country. We're 3 million units of housing short. And we need urban housing, rural housing, housing for first-time home buyers, housing for renters, housing for seniors.
I actually got the transcript here. So I'm going to fast forward to a part that I want to hear about, where she talks about the challenges of capping rates. So it's actually at the 428 mark right here. Yeah, we're not going to watch this whole thing. This is too long.
Could make up to 80% of customers of credit cards in America unprofitable at the current lending rates and credit limits, which suggests that there would be a meaningful reduction in the amount of credit potentially made available to customers if something like this were to go into effect. What do you make of that?
Well, first, obviously, I want to take a look at their data, but I also just want to start with the big picture here. Is there anybody defending 36% interest rate on credit cards or 28% interest on credit cards? Anybody out there who isn't paid by the industry that's putting out those credit cards? And do keep in mind right now, there are a lot of community banks, there are a lot of credit unions that are putting out credit cards at much, much lower interest rates. But what do the credit card company giants say? They say, oh, no, you can't touch credit.
All right. This is all obviously political. This is why I don't like talking too much about politics, because this stuff gets boring very quickly. And we need to translate this into how to make money in the stock market, okay? Or how to not lose money in the stock market in certain cases. Oh, wow. The market's actually coming back a little bit here, so that's pretty nice to see. So it really does look like, actually, let me go to the closing remarks, 1057. 1057, here we go.
Came in. Did you save the number into your contacts?
You know, it really was one of those moments. I don't usually pick up the phone when I don't recognize the number. And I thought, hey, I just come out of giving this speech. And I thought, 202.
You
It's
can
somewhere
put a
in
special.
Washington.
You can put a special ringtone on there, Senator. I've seen it on Landman.
Dun, dun,
when his
dun,
wi-
dun,
when his
dun,
when his wife
dun.
calls on Landman, it's just really
I know.
scary.
Yeah.
I think you.
That's funny. All right. So didn't really produce much from listening to that one. Good thing I didn't play the whole 10 minutes of that one. I feel bad for anyone who listened to the whole 10 minutes of that one. That's actually a pretty long one of just like, look, this isn't a campaign trail. We just want to know what's going on. But it does seem like there is some sort of bipartisan support in this. However, when I'm looking at the stock market, oh man, the market's actually coming back a little bit here. This is good to see. Let's go. Let's go. It is definitely nice to not be down multiple percentages today. But it is nice to see the market come back a little bit, but still it's down over 1% today. You know, the interesting thing about the Qs was that it is defending this 50-day moving average right here. That's definitely good to see for the Qs. SPY is still above the 50-day moving average, well above it, but it did defend the 20-day moving average. IWM is just like, what pullback? You know, it's just broadening out. Same thing with the RSP. So, you know, the market's looking pretty healthy today. BM&R shareholders are very happy today. Oh, wow. Guys, wow. If BM&R goes above this 20-day moving average, that is going to be very nice to see. Her voice can drive anyone crazy. Hey, man, I'm not going to get into that political game, but you do you. I'll keep my opinions to myself, but let's just say I don't want to watch the whole 10 minutes of that thing. What is going on, Midwest Cannabis? The true OG, the day one OG, and also Duck Hammer, man. You've been around it for a long time. All right, so I think we talked a little bit about this credit card stuff. Let's actually take a look at some financials right now. Okay, Capital One, who's been basically hit the most from this, is doing pretty well today. I think that does translate into a little bit of reprieve from the selling. American Express is actually going green in the day, so that's good to see. Is JPM still selling off? Okay, only down a little bit. So we're getting a little bit of a bounce over here, which is good to see. I think whenever it comes to these this isn't a sell-off. Whenever it comes to these pullbacks, we're seeing like certain parts of the market being hit pretty hard, which does translate into the indices. I try to find what is a sector that's getting hit the most. Obviously, it's tech because it's a Qs, but what is a thematic sector that got hit in the last few days? And a lot of that was financials. But I think the fact that we are seeing financials bounce off some critical support here is kind of good news for the rest of the market, which is probably the reason why you're seeing the Qs bouncing up pretty nicely over here. This is the reason why I don't really believe that the sell-off is going to continue, because Bitcoin is coming back to 100K, right? So we're in this massive range here for a while, and I did post about this on Twitter, was that, hey, we're getting a little bit of a breakout here in crypto. Right, we've been in like some crazy range for some period of time, but actually breaking out to the upside, which is really good for a lot of crypto shareholders. So if you have Bitcoin coming back above the 100-day moving average, it continues its momentum above 106K, you could, my friends, be back in a bullish trend, and that would be really good for risk assets. It doesn't have to be like tech all across the board, but I mean, if that happens, you know, that'll be very good. On semiconductors doing pretty good today, which I'm very, very happy to see. But ZETA's back above $22. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Path is getting back above there. And yeah, one-stop shop. This is the one Ahmed was talking about. That, of course, is up today. Again. So congratulations to shareholders for that. I don't hold one-stop shop. I did know about it back when it was $6.50. And of course, my fingers didn't hit the buy button on that one. So it is what it is. You really can't catch everything. All right. So we had the 10% cap rates on the credit cards. January 20 really is the day that you want to come up onto there. But January 20 is, of course, over the weekend. Let me actually look at my calendar real quick. So today is, the 15th, Thursday. 7. Oh, I think that's Monday, right? January 20 is a Monday. Let's see here. January 20 is a Tuesday. So we will know by Tuesday whether, we're probably going to know ahead of Tuesday whether or not this is happening or not. And I think the markets will make their decision. But I think we definitely do need to have, I don't know, something tells me the market's not going to like it if that goes through. If that goes through, the market is definitely not going to like that, in my opinion. Because if you have financials being hit by this, ultimately, where do these companies get credit from? Even though these big companies don't need to they don't need to worry about APR rates above like 10%, the average consumer does, right? Well, not the average consumer, but a lot of people who are putting a lot of their bills, a lot of utilities and everything on their credit cards, they don't want to worry about carrying over that balance above 10%. For me personally, I always pay off my credit card balance every year. I charge everything to my credit cards all the time just to get the points. And then I just pay it off at the end of every month. I pay it off every single month. I really never have to worry about interest rates, but there's definitely people out there who are, they're struggling. So they need to use their credit cards and need to be paying 30% rate. So they'll be happy with this. But the question is, will they still have credit cards after this gets capped at 10% to account for the risk that these credit card companies need to do? That's probably the bigger question. You know, there's another company that I wanted to take a look at over here. Nubank is back 16.5. Interesting how that's reacted. See, so there were some people on Twitter where I was like, well, what does Nubank have to do with the credit card rates? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do with it. Even though that Nubank is not necessarily impacted directly by the 10% cap rates, where do you think all these people will go to apply for their credit cards once that happens, right? So these other companies, even though they're not housed in the U.S. or offering consumers in the U.S. credit cards, once these other credit card companies like Capital One, SoFi, and all these other companies do cap it at 10%, they're going to come to the other players, right? And they're going to want to get credit cards from them. And when they do, Nubank is going to take on additional risk, which they're going to have to turn down, right? And everything is always cascading down from the U.S., so they're probably going to have to lower the interest rates too on the APR rates. And that's probably the reason why I took a little bit of a hit. It's actually pretty interesting because Mercado Libre is bouncing pretty nicely today, which is good to see. Where's Grab at? Of course, Grab is down. Of course, it's down. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, it is what it is. You know, I already made that innate decision to hold on to my position and suffer through all this madness. But I think one day we'll be very happy, and one day my position will be in the green as well. Anyways, I digress. So we have the 2026 winners losing momentum, and one of them was ZETA, one of them was AMKR. AMKR is down about 7% today, which is definitely not pretty to look at. ZETA is down about 6% today, and these were obviously massive winners in the beginning of the year. But going on the year, if I look at the year to date for the Qs, let me look at my percent move here. If I look year to date, let me take out these indicators here. Yeah, the Qs are actually down. Is it down year to date? No, it's not down. Yeah, no, it's not down year to date. Oh, wait, no, it is down year to date. Wow, the Qs are actually red year to date. Year to date, the SPY is up 47 basis points. No, I don't have calls and grab, just shares. IWM is likely. Yeah. Wow. IWM is up 6% year to date. I would not expect that. Bitcoin is up 4% year to date. Ethereum is up 4% year to date. And then you have the rest of the stuff. Is Amazon red year to date? Okay. Amazon is green year to date. So we're doing pretty good over here. 2% year to date. Meta is probably, Meta's down 6% year to date. And then let's look at where the crazy cat Adobe's at. Down 13% year to date. So that's certainly not fun to look at. But the year did start off pretty nicely, right? Everyone was cheering because tech stocks were bouncing. I mean, it definitely was not the happiest way to end the entire year, but coming into 2026, everything was great. And then now it's like, okay, back to reality, guys. I didn't expect it to last for long. I mean, like when the Qs were up as much as 1.5% year to date, I was like, okay, this is cool, but we're only like a week into the market, right? Like this isn't going to last forever, because if 1 week goes by and you're up 1.5%, you know, it's not going to happen every single week, because by the end of the year, you're going to be up like 200%. Like that's crazy, right? So you're going to have ebbs and flows. I think the real question is are we going to get these 10% caps? I know I keep on talking about it over and over again, but like, I think it's pretty important to realize, like, look, there's some financial impacts from this 10% caps. Like I'm personally not a fan of it, but I'm not going to take away that a lot of people are suffering. But my argument is that the people who are suffering are not going to have credit after we get this 10% cap. So on the surface, it sounds really nice in order to get the votes, right? I don't know, maybe they want to get the votes, but down, when you really think about it, it's not going to be sustainable. Like you're not going to be able to keep these at 10%. So we'll see. Celsius year to date. How's Celsius doing year to date? Oh, wow. Celsius is up 15% year to date. Congratulations, Celsius holders. Wow. I mean, it was coming off a pretty low base. right? So if I look on, my bad, I'm not sharing my screen. Yeah, so if I look on here in the regular chart, oh wow, this thing was as low as $37 just a month ago. I still remember when Celsius was basically at, hold on, I don't want to. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I still remember when Celsius was all the way at like $60 and everyone was like cheering, and then they had that one earnings and like basically went down like 50%. But then now you're like getting back for that gap fill, so that's looking pretty good there. How are we looking at the technicals here a little bit? Oh wow, we're above all the moving averages. That was actually pretty nice bullish setup yesterday. Interesting. You had your little rally back up, recovery, breakout, retest, and then breakout again. That could be an interesting play. I don't know, just throwing it out there. But yeah, it would be as big an economic mistake as the idiotic tariffs, which is why cost of living is so high. Honestly, it is the government. There's nothing we can do about it. Oh, I loaded up at $41. Congratulations, JW Golding. I was gonna say sir, but I don't know if it's madam. Like I don't know, but congratulations on that one. I don't want to make any assumptions. Oil is crashing. Whoa. Was there news? Had to have been news. That's a pretty nasty candle on the Qs too. Let me take a look here, see if there's any news in oil. I did not see that coming. Oh, wow. There must have been something. That's a massive move in oil. Let's see here. Dude, there had to have been news. Oh, this is probably it. Trump made comments on Iran. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's what it is. I think this is actually what's happening right now. He made comments in Iran. I'm going to share this screen.
Part of what's happening. I've taken a lot of them. I've aced everyone.
All right, so oil started moving down precisely around 3 o'clock, which is about 20 minutes ago. So let's see here. All right, so, ooh, that was like at the beginning of it. Holy cow. What did he say? What'd you do to us? Oh, it's not loading. Everyone's probably trying to hit this thing right now. Dude, I thought... hold on. Dude, I thought Lutnick was really tall. I thought he was a really tall guy, because if he's really tall, then that kid is really tall. Lutnick height. Oh, he's just 5'9". I could have sworn I saw a video of Lutnick, and he looked like freaking insanely tall. He's just 5'9". I'm taller than Lutnick. That's crazy. Why is this thing loading?
Issue, another one of those things.
Reviewed shortly before you all came in.
So they're going to sell chips basically, and it's a chip. It's not the highest level, but it's a very good level. And China wants them, and other people want them, and we're going to be making 25% on the sale of those chips, basically. So we're allowing them to do it, but the United States is getting 25% of the chips in terms of the dollar value, and I think it's a very good deal. Great deal. We're taking billions of dollars, and they've done a fantastic job. but it's not the Blackwell or the Rubin. Those are the two top, but it's a very good chip, and people want it, and we think it's in our best interest to do. And we have some other little things to talk.
Is there a reason why there's like a giant container of milk over there? Am I missing something here? Is that like is Steve coming? Did Steve just visit Trump or something? Why is there like a big container of milk over there? Why is there a big container of milk?
Talk about. Maybe we'll start that first. Should I start that first? I think they're going to want me to. I have a feeling they're going to want me to. We have been notified and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping. It's stopped. It's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found and is in jail right now. And that's the leaker on Venezuela. And a very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're hot on their trail. But the leaker has been found, and the leaker's in jail. And will probably be in.
The what? The leaker? What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Like what? Why is oil down 3% intraday? I want to know.
Jail for a long time. Let's see what happens. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going to happen with that. And I want to thank all of the incredible people behind me, political people, both person, you and I, be here again. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's enough of that. I'm not going to watch this thing for so long. Anyways, I'm pretty sure the news was this. I saw it on, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I got a news tab. Oh, wow. OpenAI said to have inked a $10 billion deal with Cerebras. It's crazy. Bitcoin killing stop. Okay, good. I'm glad to see that killing is stopped. Saudi Aramco Convoy signed a long-term supply agreement. Yeah, this is what it is. They're selling oil. They're selling oil on the open market. And when you have a lot more supply or a supply shock in the market, overriding demand, that is when prices go down. So that, my friends, is the moral of the story. Do not fight the regime, right? The presidential regime is trying to press down the price of oil, and it is getting smacked down. Do you guys know how much, like if you were short oil all the way at the top, $62.31, price per dollar in crude oil. 68 cents per barrel. So, okay, so how much is a price per tick? Price per tick in oil, $10 per 01. So every single dollar that oil moves is $1,000, right? So I think that's how it works, right? E-mini crude oil. Yeah, so I think that's about $1,000. So if you were short oil at 62.31, you like literally made like $2,000 just being short oil. Is that right? Yeah, no, that's right. It's crazy. But oil futures, they be volatile. They be volatile, but we'll see. Oh, wow. It was $64 this morning. No, it wasn't. Oh, I guess it really depends on which oil contract you're looking at. Because if I look at crude oil futures, if I look at this contract, it will, oh, wow, that's bouncing that's bouncing a lot. If I look at crude oil futures, hold on. Where's my crude oil futures? Oh, I can't bring it up. I think 2 would be it. Maybe you're looking at this one. No, they're both $62. So why do I keep putting covered calls on CRML? Oh, you know what? Actually, the rare earth stuff is actually doing really well today. Yeah. Wow. 34%. Insane. I heard TMC was actually up as well. Yeah, TMC is up. 9%. Is that a new? Oh, that's a crazy run up. Wow. It's almost going to reach new all-time highs. Yeah, that would be almost new all-time highs. I think UAMY is also another one. That's up a lot today. There's another rare earth company. Oh, MP. Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine if you bought the bottom here just a few days ago, just a couple weeks ago. You would have had that run up. I didn't think the rare earth stuff was going to come back, but it is going to come back. It seems like it's going to come back. But we definitely saw some good commentary from Trump as far as the where's my tab? As far as the chips goes, we saw the news yesterday. Actually, hold on. I wanted to show you guys something. This is wild. This is completely insane. I don't know if you guys saw this morning. It was like floating around Twitter a lot. Like this is honestly straight up scary. Not only for just the fact that it's technology, but it's like, let me bring this up right here.
I mean, where the fuck should I really even start? I got hoes that I'm keeping in the dark.
I don't like the swearing, so I apologize on behalf of social media. I don't like the swearing. Anyways, I'm gonna turn off the music. But yeah, check this out. That's just downright scary, guys. Like, I don't know. Is that crazy, guys? That, I don't know. AI has gotten absurd. I think this is real time, right? I believe this is real time. Yeah, I think this is real time, that it's actually doing it in real time. That's the reason why he's like turning his head a lot. But then there's also this one that was floating around this morning. Yeah, you also, I think I know this guy. I think I know this guy. I think he goes by the name Wolf Ryan. Yes, sir. I think that's him. I think someone stole his AI chatbot image. We have Wolf Ryan on there. Oh, let me share this tab. That's wild. That is wild. I don't know what to make of this, guys. This is some scary stuff. I don't think that this is going to be used for the better. How do you know? What if you're interviewing someone and you like specifically want like people that or I guess it wouldn't be so bad because it would provide like some sort of equal opportunity for everyone, which is good, right? But I mean, you're kind of tricked. You're kind of tricked. Like, I mean, I would still hire this guy too, and I'd hire her. You know, really depends on like how good you are at the job. But it's like, well, now you don't even know who you're actually talking to. I don't know. Pretty scary stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to cut the stream on the Solid Finance channel. Please tune into the Wolf Financial. If you want to continue watching this, appreciate you guys on there. That stream is getting cut off. It will, of course, continue on Wolf Twitter, also Wolf YouTube. All right. So I think that, we have some very interesting news items to look at. I thought that today we were going to hear about the big deal when it comes to, let's pump it a little bit there. When it comes to the tariffs, but we obviously did not get that news this morning. But again, as I've reiterated many times, I think the market is more concerned about the 10% cap on the APR rates. But on top of that, we also have a few other things here that I've noticed on the charts. Namely, we did have kind of a top form on the VIX. This could be a pretty nice setup toward the end of the week. But generally speaking, when the VIX makes this massive move up and then gets sold throughout the day, it's set up for a pretty crazy rally. You saw the same thing happen here. You saw the same thing happen here. Obviously, it probably was not like to this degree. But generally speaking, most of the time when the VIX moves up like that and comes down, usually continues the downtrend. So if I overlay here SPY, you could see that when VIX pops up like that, it usually signals somewhat of a bottom. All right, so you've had this one where the VIX spiked up and then eventually came down. SPY basically moved up like 20 points after that. Obviously, everyone remembers this one back in October where the VIX spiked up and then SPY moved up after that. Everyone, of course, knows about the one in April where VIX spiked up and then SP 500 moved up like 25%, 20, 40%. Intra-year in that one. So we could be setting up pretty nicely toward the end of the week. So that would be a nice way to end the week. Yeah, VIX is at 16. It's at 16.5, which is good to see. 15 love. I don't know. Maybe we might get a 15 handle on the VIX. We'll see. I mean, that's kind of where it started out the day, right? So we'll see if it heads over there. What's going on, Kale Gone? How are you, sir? Very nice to be here. So we are coming up toward the close on the end of the day. And I believe there would have been a lot more news in the market today had we seen the tariff news come out, but we clearly did not get that news. But what we see here in other news is a bit more of the OpenAI stuff. Right, so let me go ahead and share this screen here. Hold on. Here we go. Let me share this one. So we have here that OpenAI is said to have inked a deal for $10 billion with Cerebras, which is obviously going to be bullish for OpenAI as well as Microsoft. But we did hear the news the other day that Microsoft spent like $500 million in Anthropic. So this kind of puts you at a point where it's like, okay, so is Anthropic coming back? Is Anthropic going to become the better LLM out there versus OpenAI? Not specifically ChatGPT, but the LLM that OpenAI has, because ChatGPT is a chatbot, not necessarily the LLM itself. The chatbot communicates with the LLM. So the chatbot or ChatGPT is the interface that we communicate with the LLM, of course, through language. You know, so today you can really use any language, but before it was just in English. So now you have additional AI model and compute with a deal of $10 billion through Cerebras. And then we saw the Anthropic Microsoft deal happen the other day. Actually, was that the other day? It was actually this morning. I'm pretty sure I saw this news. Yeah, I guess it was this morning. Where Microsoft is becoming Anthropic's one of Anthropic's largest customers. Obviously, there's Amazon, there's Google, and so on. Actually, I don't know if Google is necessarily a client of Anthropic, but Anthropic is definitely nearing a pretty crazy valuation. Actually, what's the valuation of Anthropic? $350 billion. So that was just 8 days ago when they raised another $10 billion. So this is obviously becoming something that's important as far as the spending goes. But also, I believe Anthropic, I don't know what the profitability metric for Anthropic is, but if Anthropic is actually a bit more profitable than OpenAI, then maybe that might serve as a viable investment in the private markets. Me personally, I don't own Anthropic, or I don't own any shares in the private markets. But you're obviously going to be getting the benefits for a lot of these mega caps in the meantime. Clearly, that meantime is not today, but it is nice to see that the Qs are almost back at $620, and the market's bouncing pretty nicely over here. The question is this all going to continue? I thought OpenAI was expensive when I was at $500 billion. I believe there's some rumors circling around that OpenAI is close to $800 billion. Let me see here. I mean, apparently that's what Reddit says, and that seems to be a top story here. The most expensive private company right now is SpaceX, if it does IPO at $1.5 trillion. Someone just asked, was there any news on Vikings Therapeutics? Why is that? Wow. Vikings Therapeutics is up 14%. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Hold on. There was probably some crazy news in that one. Probably becoming a target. Oh, yeah, it was probably the comments from Novo Nordisk this morning. So I did read some headline about that. I didn't look too much into it, but Strive sues Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk for violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. Strive alleges that Lilly and Novo, not Anthony Noto, my bad. That was definitely not a Freudian slip. That was just a mispronunciation or a brain fart. Illegally monopolized the GLP-1 drug market. Claims both companies forced telehealth providers into exclusive agreements prohibiting them from working with compounding pharmacies. Hims mentioned 10 times. Rowe mentioned as well. Interesting. Where does that put Hims? Okay, Hims is down, of course. I mean, it's never a good day for Hims, apparently. But Vikings Therapeutics is up about 14%. I don't know if this particularly was the news. I feel like I read something else this morning. Oh, this is interesting. Someone actually shared a timeline here for Vikings Therapeutics. If people don't know, Vikings Therapeutics compounds GLP or semaglutide medicine or drugs, and they're one of the close competitors with Eli Lilly's GLP-1, as well as this person has shared it. Vikings Therapeutics announces publication of results from phase 2 Venture trial of jeweled. VK's 2735. Yeah, so Vikings Therapeutics compounds GLP-1 medicine, and they're one of the close competitors with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. And if I bring up the chart, because I could probably give you a better timeline just from looking at the chart here. Let me go ahead and share the screen. So this is the Vikings Therapeutics chart, and I'm out of my Vikings Therapeutics position. I did a swing position down here. If you're following me on Twitter, I basically said it publicly, and then I got out like around the $39 range. So, I'm probably not going to get back in. But when it was $42, there basically was a trial announcement where you had their oral medication, or their oral GLP-1 came out and said that there was a lot of drop off in terms of the participation in their trials. And the market quickly sold it off because it was like, well, no one's going to want to buy this VK2735 if there's a lot of drop off, because obviously that's not going to bode well for a lot of patients, right? So it's bounced up considerably since then, because you had Metsera basically get acquired by, I think it was Novo Nordisk. Don't quote me on that one. And then there was another pharmaceutical company that was acquired mostly for their GLP-1 compound. And if you have this positive trials from Vikings Therapeutics, that obviously does bode well for the stock because it does make them a much more probable candidate. In my opinion, I mean, when I shared some DD on this before, it's a very close comparison to the I got a little bit distracted. I was reading a comment on here. It's a very close candidate to Novo Nordisk and also Eli Lilly. Let me actually search for that post that I had. This is the one. So again, I'm not in it anymore, but this is a post that I made back in October 8th, right? So I basically summed it all up here, and I compare this to the Pfizer acquisition of Metsera at 150% premium, right? So Metsera, I forget. Yeah, they were acquired for about $7 billion, and the stock ran up like crazy after that. And at the time that I posted this, Vikings Therapeutics was trading around where it is right now, actually, which did imply a 26% to fill the gap. And I believe it might have filled the gap already. Did it fill the gap? Let me look at the chart real quick. Yeah, it already filled the gap. It already filled the gap. And I think it was around that time when I sold my position, because that was like kind of the play there from a technical perspective. But yeah, it was your comment. It distracted me for a minute. But I mean, we're seeing here that if it's at 150% premium like Metsera, that brings it up to $65 per share. And mind you, I'm not in this trade, right? So this obviously is not financial advice, and I'm obviously not going to recommend anything for anyone else to do other than myself. But if we go all the way up to $62, which I believe, I'm looking at the chart right now. So we have a $65. Yeah, that's like a 88% upside. Very risky though. Biotech is very risky to be in because you could always have any news that would bring the price down, which is what you see over here on the Vikings Therapeutic. And again, guys, I'm not in this trade anymore. I made this post 3 months ago. But it is interesting to see that they're getting positive trial releases. But for the most part, that's how I expressed it. The chart looked really good at the time. Let me just take a look at the chart today, and then we'll close out the stream in a minute. So yeah, we have about 88% upside. But if I look at the technicals here, we have a little bit of work to do. So Vikings did bounce off the 200-day moving average, which serves as pretty good support here. And it bounced off of it to just today. That's actually a very interesting move it's making off of there, a 12% move. It's faded quite a bit because it just rejected the 50-day moving average over here. But we'll see. Yeah, BTC 98K soon. It's very interesting to see the price action on this one. The volume is a bit more than average over here. I believe my volume is on a 20-day look back, 20 trading day look back. So it is higher than average here. But it's not like excessively high, right? Like if volume was like crazy high like this, and that would be something, but it's not like crazy volume. Why does the screen stop sharing? But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Vikings Therapeutics. Yeah, the market is just doing what it does into the close. ZETA is above $22, which is good to see. Path is almost at 1550. AMKR is still down 7%. We have a few things that are doing pretty nicely today, but is this really going to continue? I mean, we're really not going to know until the 20th, or at least close to before the 20th, whether that this is going to continue or not. I would, in my best guess is that There's obviously a lot of pushback when it comes to the 10% cap on the credit cards. If this does happen, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think the market's going to like it. So it could continue, but seeing the moves on the VIX right now, we might get a little bit of relief bounce in the next couple of days, in my opinion. I mean, we might, I'm not trying to trade it short term or anything, but we might get a little bit of a relief bounce, and probably toward the end of the weekend, we'll get some more clarity on that 10% cap rate. And when futures open on Sunday, which is when they like to release all this crazy news, right? It's like, hey, what better time is there to release news other than after the futures open, when everyone can trade it, right? So we'll see what happens with that one. But other than that, I believe Taiwan Semi reports later tonight, TSM earnings dates. Yeah, they're actually reporting tonight. So we will know tomorrow when the markets open where they're at, but it's likely the overnight markets are going to move in that one. So I'll probably wait to report on that one tonight. Going to send a tweet out. And I don't know what I'm going to do with Adobe yet. I'm probably going to end up selling for the end of the day. So if you don't hear from me, Adobe's likely to get sold out of my portfolio in the next 15 minutes. 3% position, so not really a big deal. All shares. So, that kind of sucks that I took a little bit of loss, and that my average was $330. So down 10% in position, but that's only 30 basis points of the entire portfolio. So not really such a big deal. We'll look to greener pastures tomorrow when the market, hopefully it's open. What did you say about Amazon, if anything? What you feel about earnings? What I said about Amazon was that, so the tariff stuff is obviously going to impact Amazon, right? So they import a lot from China. They have passed those costs over to the consumer. But if we do get the tariffs roll off, that should be bullish for Amazon, right? But just looking at the dynamics of the market, it doesn't look like the tariffs are going away. In fact, we saw from the clip earlier this morning on CNBC that basically Trump has a lot of cards to pull out of his sleeve in case the tariffs do get declared unconstitutional, whatever the verdict is. But anyways, it's going to happen regardless. And I think Amazon is pricing that in. It also looks like Nike's pricing that in too, because Nike's pulling back a little bit today. So maybe Tim Cook buying it was not enough to continue the momentum. Maybe the 200-day moving average it's finding resistance on is keeping it down. I don't know. No shares of Nike, Amazon, a big position portfolio. Anyways, guys, that does it. Thank you for tuning in.